They say the last hour of your life feels like forever. But sitting here, staring at the clock, I can tell you that forever ends faster than you think. The air in this cell doesn't move. It's thick, heavy, like the walls themselves are holding their breath with me. Across the hallway, someone whispers a prayer, his voice breaking on every word. He's not praying for me. He's praying that when my time comes, it goes quietly, so he doesn't have to hear it. The guards walk past every few minutes, their boots echoing down the concrete floor. They never make eye contact. They don't need to. Everyone in this hallway already knows what's waiting behind that metal door at the end. I used to think I'd fight it, that I'd scream about injustice or curse the world for turning on me. But now, with less than an hour left, all I can think about is the sound of that clock. Tick, tock. Every second feels like a memory trying to crawl back to life, and I can't decide which is worse, what I did, or how easily I stopped caring. The air in this cell doesn't move. It's heavy, stale, like the walls themselves are waiting for the clock to stop. Somewhere down the hall, another inmate is whispering a prayer. He isn't praying for me. He's praying that when my time comes, I don't scream. Every few minutes, the guards walk past, boots striking the floor in the same cold rhythm. They never look inside, but I can feel their eyes through the glass, making sure I'm still breathing. They don't want me to die too early. I used to picture death row as chaos, men shouting, begging, fighting for air, but it isn't like that. It's quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that makes you hear your own heartbeat and wish it would slow down. I stopped counting the hours a long time ago. Now, every sound, the hum of the light, the distant cough, the scrape of metal, is a reminder that the end is scheduled, timed, and waiting for me. Tick, tock. Each second falls like a hammer, and all I can do is sit here and wonder. If forever really ends in 60 minutes, what am I supposed to do with what's left of it? People always ask what goes through your mind when you're facing death. For me, it's not fear. It's memory. I keep seeing that night play over and over, like a film that won't stop replaying. The laughter at dinner, the car ride home, the way my brother's voice cracked when he told a joke. They had no idea. None of them did. I told them we were celebrating. I told them I'd passed my final exams and that I wanted us to go out, just the four of us, one last time before I moved away. They believed every word. When we came home, someone was already waiting inside. A man in a black hood, holding a gun. I paid for. The first shot dropped my brother. The second hit my mother. I felt the heat of the third tear past my arm as I fell to the ground. I was supposed to look like a survivor, the lucky one, the son who lost everything. For a few minutes I almost believed it myself. I screamed, cried, played the part so well I fooled everyone, even me. But when the police came and I saw my father's body bag being zipped, the act ended. That's when I realised the truth. I hadn't just killed them. I'd killed every version of myself that ever existed before that night. I used to think I'd done it for the money, for the inheritance, for some twisted idea of control. But now, sitting here, I know it wasn't about any of that. It was about emptiness. About never being satisfied, no matter how much I had. That's the part people never understand. How greed isn't loud. It's quiet. It whispers. It convinces you that you deserve more, until more becomes everything. I wasn't born a monster. At least, that's what I tell myself when the lights go out. I grew up surrounded by everything money could buy. A mansion with a gate higher than most people's dreams. Cars I didn't earn. Gifts I didn't appreciate. When you have too much too early, the world starts to feel like it owes you something. My parents mistook wealth for love. They gave me everything except limits. Every mistake I made was covered, every consequence erased with a check. Somewhere along the way, I learned that guilt disappears if you can afford to pay for it. People like to call it affluenza, the sickness of having too much. I called it normal. I thought happiness came with a price tag. And if I kept spending, maybe I'd finally buy peace of mind. But money can't buy silence. It only makes the noise inside louder. I started stealing just to feel something. Not because I needed it. I just wanted to know what it was like to take. To cross a line no one thought I'd cross. That thrill became my oxygen. The more I got away with, the less I cared about what was right. My parents thought they could fix me by giving me more. A car, a condo, even a watch that cost more than most people's annual salary. They thought they were saving me. They were feeding the disease. I remember my father's face when he found out I'd dropped out of college. It wasn't anger. It was disappointment. And that's what hurt most. Not because I cared about his love, but because it made me feel small. I wanted to destroy that feeling. When I planned the murders, it wasn't rage that drove me. It was emptiness. A quiet, echoing kind of nothing that begged to be filled. Now, sitting here in this cell, I finally understand the cruelty of that kind of hunger. How it eats you alive, long before you ever take a life. 40 minutes left. The guards don't speak anymore. They just pass by like ghosts, counting the same minutes I am. I've already signed the papers, handed over my few belongings, a Bible, a photo, and a letter I'll never have the courage to read again. The warden said I could call someone if I wanted, but what could I say? Hi, just checking in before I die. The priest came by earlier. He asked if I wanted to confess. I told him I've been confessing for years, every night to the same cracked ceiling. He smiled like he'd heard that before. Maybe he has. 30 minutes. I can hear the sound of water dripping from the bathroom sink. Each drop lands heavier than the last. I wonder if that's what my heartbeat sounds like on the monitor they'll hook me up to. Steady, mechanical, waiting for permission to stop. 20 minutes. They told me it wouldn't hurt. Just a few seconds of warmth, then nothing. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. My father will be in the witness room. The man who lost everything because of me will be the last face I see. 15 minutes. The priest's voice echoes in my head. Is there anything you want to make right before you go? I wanted to say yes. I wanted to tell him that I'd trade every dollar I ever touched for one more minute with the people I destroyed. But instead, I said nothing. Because sometimes silence is the only apology left. 10 minutes. The priest has returned. He walks beside me in silence, the rosary in his hand clicking softly with each step. The warden's voice is calm, almost gentle, as he reminds me what's next. They say routine keeps everyone sane. Even death has a checklist. When we reach the door, I can see the faint reflection of my father through the glass panel. He looks smaller than I remember, older. I wonder if he's thinking about the day I was born, when he stood behind another pane of glass, watching me take my first breath. Now he's watching me take my last. The guards strap my wrists down. The leather is cold, and the fluorescent lights hum so loudly that it almost sounds like static. A nurse checks my pulse, another adjusts the IV lines. Everything is clean, precise, mechanical. For a moment, I imagine the phone ringing, that mythical call every man here dreams of. But the silence holds. My throat is dry. My heart feels slow. I turn my head, just enough to find my father's eyes through the glass. He isn't crying. He just nods once, like a man saying goodbye to a ghost. The warden asks if I have any last words. I open my mouth, but the words collapse before they form. There's nothing left to say. And then the curtain moves. Someone whispers. The warden steps closer. Your execution has been suspended. For a second, I don't understand. My mind can't process life after preparing for death. Then it hits me. The governor called. My father's letter worked. The straps loosen. The lights fade. I'm still here, but in a way I died anyway, because once you've accepted your own ending, coming back isn't life. It's a sentence. When the door shut behind the warden, the sound echoed like a gunshot. I was alive, but it didn't feel like victory. The others on this row will celebrate for me tonight, whispering about miracles and last-minute calls. They don't understand that dying was the easy part. Living with what I've done, that's the real sentence. They say I'll serve life without parole, a lifetime inside this box, counting the same minutes I thought I'd never see again. The same walls, the same prayers, the same silence. But now there's no countdown, no ending to look forward to, just time, endless time. My father says this is grace. Maybe he's right. Maybe forgiveness isn't about escape. Maybe it's about endurance. Every night I stare at that same clock, listening to it tick, waiting for it to stop. But it doesn't. It just keeps going. And so do I. They tell me I've been given a second chance. But no one explains what you're supposed to do with one when your first chance ended in blood. In this place, mercy feels like another kind of punishment. Every morning I wake up, I remember that I wasn't spared because I deserved it. I was spared because someone still believed I could change. Maybe that's the cruelest mercy of all, to live long enough to understand the weight of your own sins. My father visits sometimes. We don't talk about that night anymore. He just sits across the glass and tells me about the weather, the world, how things keep moving outside these walls. I nod, pretending to listen, but mostly I'm just trying to memorize his voice, because it's the only proof that forgiveness can exist in a place built for the forgotten. Some nights, I still hear the ticking. The clock above my bed never stops, never even slows down. But now, I don't count the seconds waiting for them to run out. I count them to remember that I'm still here. And maybe, somehow, that's enough.